Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer, and today we're here for the last of the Civilization 6 Rise and Fall New Leader Spotlights, where today we'll be taking a look at Genghis Khan. And before we get into things today, just let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to continue this series with the rest of the base game leaders of Civ 6, because if you want me to, I certainly can. If not, I have another series coming out that's probably going to start this week, but without further ado, let's get right into things with Genghis Khan. So Genghis Khan's ability in Civilization 6 is Mongol Horde, and what it does is it makes it so that all cavalry class units gain +3 combat strength and a chance to capture defeated enemy cavalry class units. So Mongol Horde it's pretty nice. The straight up +3 combat strength for all cavalry units is definitely nice. +3 isn't too much, but it's definitely enough to make a little bit of a difference whenever you're fighting other units. I mean, obviously it's going to give you an edge, so it's going to mean that you're pretty much always going to win against other units unless they have some bonus that overrides your +3. So that's pretty nice. The chance to capture defeated cavalry units is situationally okay. If you have someone like Scythia in the game that likes to build cavalry, then this is a really nice ability because there's plenty of them to steal. But if you have a game where the AI aren't building very many cavalry, or the people that you're playing against aren't building much cavalry, then obviously it's not going to make too much of an effect. But overall, Mongol Horde, pretty good ability. His second ability is, I have no idea how to pronounce it, Ordu, I don't know, something like that. But what it does is it makes it so that starting a trade route immediately creates a trading post in the destination city, and you receive an extra level of diplomatic visibility for possessing a trading post in a city of a civilization. And in addition to that, all Mongolian units double the usual combat bonus for having a higher level of diplomatic visibility over their opponents. So Ordu is pretty good, actually. The only problem is whenever you're gonna send the trade route and get the increased diplomatic visibility, but whenever you declare war, then it gets rid of the trading post, so you're gonna have to send it somewhere else, or it gets rid of the trade route, so you'll have to send it somewhere else, which is kind of counterproductive. But it's definitely not bad. The Mongolian units doubling the usual combat bonus for having a higher level of diplomatic visibility is pretty good. I'm not 100% sure what the default is off the top of my head. But just having that little bit more of an edge can be quite nice, especially if, you're looking to backstab somebody. So you have quite a high level of diplomatic visibility. The next thing you know, you declare war, and you get quite a bit of a combat bonus over them. So overall, pretty nice. It's kind of synergizes well with the Mongolian playstyle. It kind of makes you play Mongolia like Mongolia really was in, the real world, where, they'd be friends with people, and then they'd just be like, yeah, by the way, you're dead, and then they'd kill them. So overall, Mongolia's ability is pretty nice. They do synergize nicely with each other. So without further ado, let's move on to Mongolia's unique unit. So Mongolia's unique unit in Civilization 6 is the Keshig, which is a special cavalry unit that unlocks with Stirrups. It has a melee strength of 30, a range strength of 40, and a movement of 4. And in addition to this, any civilian units that are in formation, so whenever you click the little link up button, with the Keshig, copy its high movement. So say you have a builder or a settler and you put it in formation with a Keshig, then the settler will now have 4 movement as well, as long as it stays in formation with the Keshig. So the Keshig is a pretty interesting unit. Really, it's just a crossbowman with higher movement is what it is, because crossbowmen also have 30 melee strength and 40 range strength, except they only have 2 movement instead of 4. So it's pretty much just a crossbowman with double movement. This is still kind of a good thing, though. The other problem is that since it unlocks with Stirrups and it doesn't replace anything, you can't pre-build them, which does really suck because you can't just pre-build a bunch of horsemen and then upgrade them into Keshigs. But the Keshig overall is still a pretty nice unit. If you're going for just cavalry spam, you can get a bunch of knights and a bunch of Keshigs all at once and just stomp through people. And you don't really have to worry about building crossbowmen, because you could really even use Keshigs defensively if you really wanted to. Just put them in your cities, and then that way, if you get attacked, you can also respond very quickly. So overall, the Keshig is pretty good. It's not great, but it's definitely above average. So they definitely get some points for that one. Moving on now to Mongolia's unique building, they have the Ordu, which is a unique stable. Well, it's a unique building that replaces the stable. It provides all the bonuses that the stable does, so 1 housing, 1 production, 1 citizen slot to put a specialist, and 1 great general point. As I said, those are all the same as the stable, and it also gives the plus 25% XP for all cavalry units, which is the same as the stable. But the unique thing about the Ordu is that it gives plus 1 movement for all cavalry units trained in the city. And this is pretty strong, actually, because if we go back to the Keshig that has 4 movement, now it would have 5, so it's pretty much a crossbowman with, over double the movement of a crossbowman, which is pretty nice. You can get more movement on your knights and just speed through the enemy's territory, pillage a bunch of stuff, run away, attack, and just keep doing that again because you have 4 or 5 movement on most of your cavalry movement, or on your cavalry units. So overall, the Ordu is pretty good. You're definitely going to want to build Ordus over barracks in your encampments because whenever you're playing Mongolia, you just are going to focus on cavalry a lot more. That's kind of just what they do. So Ordu synergizes quite well with the rest of the stuff that Mongolia has, and it is a quite strong building. And with all of these things in mind, let's move on to some of the strengths and weaknesses of the Mongolian Empire in Civilization 6. So the first strength that comes to mind is that they are well focused. They like domination, and they like cavalry, and, well, they really like that stuff, and they have a lot of bonuses to domination. They have a lot of bonuses to their cavalry, which is quite nice. So they're kind of like the Zulu in that they're so focused on domination, and for that reason, they are really good at domination. In addition to this, much along the same lines, the Ordu synergizes really well with their unique unit and abilities. Just because of their focus on cavalry, getting an additional 1 movement on your cavalry makes the cavalry just that much stronger, because you'll have cavalry that gets 1 additional movement and +3 combat strength because of their ability. So overall, they're just a really synergistic and focused civilization, and that is a huge strength of them. As far as weaknesses go, the first one is that their effectiveness is really lowered if the enemies don't build cavalry. So if you're in a game and the enemies aren't really building cavalry, that kind of negates part of your first ability. So you can't capture enemy cavalry if they don't have any cavalry to capture. So that is one thing that kind of sucks. It is kind of situational. And in addition to that, the other big thing is that they don't have any bonuses to loyalty. Much like with the Zulu, who get a bunch of loyalty for having units in a city, and it's even more if they have a corps or an army in a city. That is such a thing that's so nice in Rise and Fall because it's so hard to keep cities after you take them. But with the Zulu, it's so easy because of their ability. But unfortunately, Mongolia does not have a loyalty bonus. So that is something to keep in mind. And in addition to this, they are non-versatile just because they are so focused. That's not such a bad thing just because, what they do well. So that are some of the strengths and weaknesses of Mongolia. And now with all of this in mind, let's move on and give Mongolia their tier ranking. So if you're new to the series, I give each civilization a tier ranking, and each of the 4 victory types of domination, science, culture, and religion, because I exclude score, and I give them an overall ranking that takes into account not only the victory types, but other things such as play style, versatility, strength of their unique units, and such things like that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and give Mongolia their ranks. And one thing I didn't mention is that ranks go from S to F, with S being the highest and F being pretty terrible. For Mongolia, domination. Mongolia is going to get a strong A in domination. They are very good. They're quite focused on domination, and that's what they aim to do. Both of their abilities help their domination game. Their unique unit helps their domination game. Their unique building helps their domination game. And overall, they are pretty good. The reason they're not S is because they don't have that bonus to loyalty, which is just... It's so crucial if you're going for a domination victory to be able to keep the cities, unless you plan on just razing them to the ground, which is something that you could do. But just because of the fact that they don't get any bonuses to loyalty is what really separates them from being S and takes them down to an A. But overall, they are still a very strong domination civ and well deserving of an A. As far as science goes, I think they're going to get a B in science. They really don't have anything to help science, but much like with the other domination civs, you are going to want to put down some campuses, so you're not going to fall behind in science. Because if you fall behind in science when you're playing domination, you're going to have a really bad time, because units that are an era above you are probably going to stomp through yours. So for that reason, they are going to get a B in science, because they're going to be a little bit above average, just because you want to build encampments and campuses, so that way you have your strong military units and you have the tech to back it up. So for that reason, they are going to get a B in science. As far as culture goes, they're going to get a C. You're really not going to be building very many theater squares whenever you're playing Mongolia. You don't want to necessarily fall behind, but you're probably going to be right about in the middle of the road. You're not going to be falling behind, but you're really not going to be focusing at all. So for that reason, they get a C. And with religion, we have much more of the same. They're going to get a C because, well, you're probably not going to be getting religion with Mongolia. They don't really have anything to hurt them. Like, you could go for religion and, get the bonus that gives you combat strength against civs of other religions, or if you want to use that to, try to help mitigate your culture or science, you could do that, but I think it'd be really slow. So you probably wouldn't want to do that, but overall, they get a C in religion. And as far as their overall ranking goes, I'm going to give Mongolia a B. They're a pretty solid civ. They're well focused on domination. Aside from that, though, they don't really do anything. And although they are good at domination, I don't think that they're top of the line in domination. I think Shaka takes that trophy. But overall, they still are a pretty good civ. They're fun to play if you can just start running around with your cavalry and pillaging and burning cities to the ground and razing and having a bunch of fun with your cavalry. But they definitely have a few weaknesses that keep them from being like A tier. So I think they are deserving of a B. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.